there's so many Asian stores in the black neighborhoods? That's a good fucking question. First of all, you need to ask your question, why is it that blacks wasn't taking advantage of building stores in our neighborhoods and shit? I'm gonna spit some words at you. We're just gonna do some wordplay at this point. Rosewood, Tulsa, Elaine, Slocum, Atlanta, Wilmington, Colfax, East St. Louis, Washington, D.C., Memphis, Chicago, New Orleans, Camp Grant. Oh, you still here? Oh, those race massacres by people, to black people, whenever they try to own a town or build their stores in their neighborhoods, white people will get mad. They will get pissed off, right? And they will go burn them motherfuckers down. People off some generations of blacks, you know, the usual. My whole point for saying all those massacres, because that's what they were, is part of the explanation as to why there are hardly any black-owned businesses, or why it's so difficult for blacks to acquire wealth or hold wealth, or why they don't have generational wealth. And you have walking around, I can't fucking stand them. You have these, FBA. Well, see, the funny thing about FBA, they understand this, but they want the oppression that led to black people being inspired to have their own neighborhoods to come back, because they feel blacks can only work under that level of oppression. I think it's ridiculous, but whatever. And not to mention, as we get into more modern times, in the 1900s, there was redlining. Please go Google what fucking redlining was. Okay, redlining did apply also to the Asian markets. The problem, the Asian stores, the thing about it is, they still were allowed to get loans to start their businesses only if they went into the black neighborhoods. They just weren't allowed in the white neighborhoods. And then, you had your Asian stores that could kind of sit on the edge, like right on the tracks of the black and white neighborhoods, or that Chinese store where you see that affluent family coming in from the suburbs trying to enjoy some Chinese food or whatever. Yeah, you had that, but redlining affected the Asian people too. They just still were allowed to get loans to come into the black neighborhoods. Again, when it comes to like the hair market, when it came, that was the beauty stores and stuff. There was no wholesaler willing to sell to black people in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. That's why Asians cornered that market. So you had the Koreans figuring that shit out. They're like, oh, okay, well, we'll just use America's racism to profit. So yeah, the Asians took advantage of white supremacy and America's racism to basically come into black neighborhoods and corner the corner store market, the liquor store market, the bodegas. I mean, you go into New York, you rarely see any abuelas or tias in the bodegas. It's usually someone of Asian descent. Now, this isn't necessarily to hate on Asian people. This is to educate you about how white supremacy has infected like a virus throughout this entire world, and how the crux of that virus, the aim of the virus is always black Americans. We are always the first to feel it. I mean, think about it. Black people are more likely to enlist in the military so we could get access to opportunity. Black people, especially black women, were predominantly employed by the government because the government can't discriminate. So we could get, high level positions within the government to pay for us to get out of poverty. Think about medical experiments and medical testing. Who do they target? They target poor people. Who is mostly poor? Black people. And the poor whites in rural America, they're not targeted. And we can discuss why, but I don't want to be too insulting. Rich white people aren't going to let their kids enlist in the military unless they're self-righteous. They weren't going to test syphilis on a bunch of white boys. They weren't finna do that. They're not going to allow no Asian family to come set up a shop and make money off white neighborhoods. Are you insane? Absolutely fucking not. You got some black people over there you can exploit. Go down there, right? So yes, that is why you see so many Asian stores in black neighborhoods. Not to mention that blacks lacked generational wealth. We still do. Look where we are when it comes to the wealth barometer. This isn't all our fault. Yes, we do have some stupid idiots in our culture that we do need to educate further and hopefully pull a lot of people out of the mental slavery that they're in. Yeah, I completely understand that. But redlining and discrimination, banks weren't loaning to blacks. They still don't fucking loan to black people. So why is it that the criticism is on black people when racism is directed toward us? And it's not about victimhood. I'm tired of that shit. Spitting the truth and telling the truth about a situation isn't claiming I'm a fucking victim, okay? Stop putting labels on shit. This ain't got shit to do with victimhood or victimizing anybody. This has everything to do with white supremacy and how it has infested our culture and society. And how you're seeing the effects of that. All of the little tiny little symptoms of white supremacy. All these small little instances in our community where now it's starting to be real blatant. People are hyper aware of that shit. So that is why you have an abundance of Asian stores in black neighborhoods. And it's really difficult to ask black people who only have the little Asian corner market to get their little bananas and maybe a beat up apple or two and some canned goods from, that they need to boycott the only source of food that they have. Oh, we'll say it is. Black people, we are in a better position now, especially with all this money that swear up and down that they beat racism and racism doesn't fucking exist anymore, when all actuality they were just
TikTok censor
through some of the mechanisms of those that fought against racism. Those are the ones that need to come into our neighborhoods and put up corner stores and put up hair stores, because now we have access to wholesalers. All little micro businesses. Stop going to the Asian stores and go to that mom around the corner that does that banging ass kitchen that, you know, every once in a while she got the little $10 plates and shit. You know, maybe it can't come together and get a garden going. But this is why Asians have cornered the market in black neighborhoods. Stop thinking black people are lazy. We're not. We are absolutely not lazy. It's just that there's a lot of fatigue in us trying to fight this fucking system that's been having their foot on our fucking neck for like 400 years. So there's a lot of reasons as to why the situation when it comes to the Asians and their hold on the black neighborhoods and marketing to us and selling goods to us and selling commodities to us, there is that debate. But let me explain something to you. It was by design. All by design.